What's up, it's Human. Today I'm going to show you how to escape the default RPG Maker's sprite sheet limitations of 3 frames per motion. You'll learn how to vary the speed and timing of frames and create as many motions as you'd like. I'm going to assume that you've done a little bit of work ahead of time. You should have the Dragonbones plugin installed, necessary folders that you need made in your RPG Maker project files, and you should have your images separated as well. There's a link to sprite sheet slicers, all the plugins, files, and some written out instructions in the description if you need it. Let's get started. So let's open up our Dragonbones software here. First thing that we want to do is hit New Project, Create Animation, Armature Template. There we go. Alright, what we want to do is import all of the images that we need to the library. So we'll import assets to library. I've got it right here. I already split this up. We're going to start with an idle motion, kind of what you need in every project. So after we import, all of the images are going to show up in the library in the bottom right. Drag this up to the root. There's our buddy. Fighter 2. Fighter 3, we're dragging everything under this root file here. So these images will never overlap. You're never going to see more than one of them on the screen. That's why they're in the same slot. This up here is called the slot. We've got everything we need to make an idle motion. I'm clicking this animation tab, and now we can start making a move. Okay, let's rename this motion idle. All our different motions are listed down here in the bottom right, our different animations. Down here is the timeline. It's going to show you what shows up when. So frame 0, I'm going to click on the battler, and I want Fighter 1 to show up first. I click this yellow flag and turn it red. That makes it what's called a keyframe. That saves that image so that it will show up in frame 0. Frame 4 is going to be Fighter 2. Frame 8 is Fighter 3, and we'll do frame 4 in 12. That's just a little preview. It doesn't look quite right. Some motions are going to cycle 1, 2, 3, 4. Others might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think that's the case here. So 16, I'm going back to Fighter 3. 20, going back to Fighter 2. And if you're making your own motions, you can make it cycle however you'd like. 24. Actually, I'm going to make Fighter 2 last for 4 frames. So 2 is going to be the last one, and then it'll go back to 1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. And continue from there. Let's see how it looks. I think that's perfect. The default is 24 frames per second. In my experience, about 4 frames per image is the right length of time, or at least a good base to start with. Now, importantly, down here in the very bottom right is play times. 0 means it's going to continue to repeat until another animation is shown. If you change this to 1, it's going to repeat once and then return back to the idle motion. That's why idle is so important. You need something for the motion to return to. Otherwise, it's just going to freeze in place. So we've got our idle motion. Why don't we make just one attack as well? Let's import a few more assets to our library. Of course, I already have them picked out. And these can go in the same slot because, again, we're not going to see more than one fighter on screen at the same time. You might want to use a second slot if you've got like an alternate weapon that follows along with him. Could get a little more complicated, but I think you could all figure it out. Back to the animation tab, let's make a new animation with plus. Rename this attack. As far as I know, with Visage Stella at least, the caps does not matter. It's case insensitive. Okay, so we're in attack motion. We're going to start with fighter 17. He's going to transition to 18. 4 frames later, 19. And then 20. Let's see how it looks. Not bad. Not exactly how we would like it, I think. I'm going to do another keyframe so it keeps that sword up for the 4 frames. Otherwise it goes right back to this base part. Now I do want to change the blend times to 1 real quick because he should play this then go back to idle. Let's do that before anything. And now, yeah, the swing needs to be a bit faster, so I'm going to bring this here. We'll just truncate this a little bit and see how it looks. Oh, nice. I think that's a pretty good attack. Good enough for me. I think we're ready to export and add it to our project files. So we've got a lot of renaming to do. 3 spots. You want to name that root. Okay, that's going to be fighter. This is the tag that you are going to refer to in your note tags inside of RPG Maker. So the root and the armature I'm naming fighter. You might not need all of these, but good practice to just change them anyway because MZ and MV are a little different. You might as well make them all match. Last thing, project name down at the bottom. Fighter. If you're using MV, I suggest you use 4.0 or 4.5. I think that's all that plugin is compatible with. This is the texture atlas, basically the sprite sheet that we've created. Alright, and then you want to make sure that this is going into your project fighter files. There we go, Dragonbones assets. That's usually what your folder will be called. And finish. Alright, I'm going to take a peek and see if he shows up in my project files. Here we go. So I've got some other stuff in there. There should be 3 fighters or 3 files. There's a PNG and then the text and the ske, whatever those mean, skeleton and texture, I think. And that's all you need. Let's see if it works. My project's already set up. I've got the note tags, which I can also share in a document in the description. I boosted the scale a little bit. Battler is going to be fighter. That's what we're referring to. And then I put idle motion and attack in there. This has to have an image or else your battler will not appear. Let's hope this works. There we go. There's our guy. Idle motion is working. It is continuing to repeat. Let's do 1 attack. Nice. Perfect. And he returns back to his idle motion. That's what we want. I think this is a success. So that was about 10 minutes. Very easy to do. If you have any questions, drop a comment. Join the Discord server. PM me, whatever. Don't like, don't subscribe, don't do any of that. This is not a thing. Just wanted to help people with one quick tutorial. Probably the last one of my life. Thanks for joining. Hope this helps. Human out.